Lacey, I can remember a time not that long ago, about 10 years ago, when Hyundai was kind of like a fringe player. They had some okay cars, but the real thrust of making good quality cars was still ahead.
Well, Zach, the thing is, Hyundai is now consistently making vehicles that are getting really high quality scores.
And sales have rocketed. Last year in Canada, for the very first time, Hyundai sold over 100,000 units. And with the introduction of this second generation Hyundai Tucson, the future looks even brighter.
And better looking too. This new Hyundai has beautiful flowing lines that kind of resembles a rock that's been polished over many years by water. This compact SUV is arguably the best looking in its class. It's sold in 3 trim levels, with this being the top limited version. It's easier to spot because it has a chrome grille and larger 18-inch wheels. All others get 17-inch wheels with wheel covers or alloys.
Hyundai has a 1-2 punch in the compact SUV market. They have this Tucson and they have the slightly larger and very popular Hyundai Santa Fe. Now, their sales have shown that most people bought the 4-cylinder and didn't take the V6 option. So for the second generation, they've dropped the V6 altogether. There's probably another reason for it too. Those few people that did go for the V6 probably stole sales away from the bigger Santa Fe.
Keep it real, keep it real.
Confusing things more, this new Tucson is longer, wider, and only slightly shorter than the outgoing model, which makes it a cheaper and only slightly smaller alternative to the Hyundai Santa Fe.
A major appeal for buying a Hyundai has always been the value. Hyundai offers a lot of features for a lot less money than the competition. They've also been very smart. They've offered convenience features that a lot of other companies are only offering on the higher trim levels, but they're offering them as standard equipment. For example, all models come Bluetooth equipped. In comparison, on a $160,000 Porsche, Bluetooth is an option. Now take that, Porsche. In addition, a USB jack comes standard, as does radio controls on the steering wheel. The model I think most buyers will choose is the middle-of-the-road GLS. It includes heated seats, telescopic steering, sat radio, upgraded stereo and interior, along with alloy wheels.
So what does a Hyundai Tucson cost? Well, the base model, $23,000. The middle trim GLS, $27,000, and this fully macked out one, Lacey, with the Navi, the big sunroof, the bigger 18-inch wheels, $34,000. Most people will go for the middle GLS, and I recommend it because you get heated seats, you get the softer touch dashboard, and it really looks excellent in here. Plus, the design is as good looking as the outside.
Even though the Tucson is only offered with a 4-cylinder engine, it's quite okay. You've got a powerful engine that actually has more output than the outgoing V6. It's a 2.4-liter unit with 176 horsepower and 168 pound-feet of torque. The combination of good power and a quiet interior make this Tucson a surprisingly sophisticated-feeling vehicle. If you're like me and you want to do all of the shifting yourself, the Tucson is one of the only vehicles in this class to have a manual transmission available on the base model. Otherwise, all of the other trim levels come with a 6-speed shiftable automatic. That being said, the vehicle does a great job of shifting gears itself, making sure you get the most performance and efficiency out of the engine. The front-wheel drive automatic uses 9 liters per 100K in the city and just 6.3 liters on the highway. That works out to 31 miles per gallon in the city and 45 on the highway. This is right up with the best in this class for economy, including the Chevy Equinox, Nissan Rogue, and Mitsubishi Outlander. The Tucson is an absolute gem to drive in the city. The size is very maneuverable, the steering's responsive, the seats are comfortable, you've got good power from the engine. This is just another product from Hyundai that I enjoy driving.
What I particularly like about this Tucson is the way that they've been able to achieve that European sort of handling. It doesn't have that soft, typical North American feel. The steering is quite firm and sometimes even heavy, and the suspension has great feedback to the driver. There is a note though, if you drive over bumpy roads, the suspension can feel a little bit choppy. The Tucson is sold with front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Canadians who live in urban areas usually do the sensible thing and opt for front-wheel drive, knowing that the all-wheel drive option can be overkill. However, the all-wheel drive on the Tucson runs mostly in front-wheel drive mode and only sends power to the rear wheels when needed. This system can also be locked to secure an even 50-50 split in torque front to back. So driving along in this Tucson Limited, I got a navigation system here, huge panoramic sunroof, sitting on beautiful leather seats, nice soft touch materials on the dash. And I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't look and feel like a Hyundai. This looks like a vehicle from a much higher end car company, but it's Hyundai. The only complaint, I say it all the time, the driver's seat doesn't go low enough. If they could sort that out, I'd be sad. It's obvious that Hyundai is trying to make their vehicles well made. And the best way to do that is to literally make them feel back to the driver like the vehicle is one solid, precise piece of machinery. Mission accomplished.
So Zach, do you think that this new Tucson is going to keep Hyundai on their current sales track?
Well, I absolutely do. And you know what? Sales of it have already been very brisk. And there's a lot to like with this vehicle. For me, I think the styling is spectacular. I think it's the best looking compact SUV in the market. The inside is really nice if you get the GLS or higher trim. It is good value, and that's what Hyundai brings to the table. And you know what, Lacey? I like the size. A lot of people would say, well, I'm not going to look at the Tucson. I'm going to right to the Santa Fe because it's a little bit bigger. But you know what? As many families or even retired people or single people or a young couple, they don't need all of the capacity of a bigger SUV to run about the city and do their day-to-day chores. This vehicle is perfect. It's got just enough cargo space to get to the grocery store and do chores like that. Plus, it's got a nice, thrifty 4-cylinder engine. That's all great stuff. And on the downside, Lacey, you can go back online and watch all the reviews I've done for Hyundai, and I usually have the same common complaint. The driver's seat doesn't go low enough. Sure, they've made it go high enough for shorter people, but it doesn't go low enough for tall people. I've said this to Hyundai when I've had a chance to talk to them over and over, and they don't seem to fix it. Other than that, I don't think there's anything wrong with this vehicle. Lacey, what do you think?
Well, you know what, Zach, I agree with you on the styling. I absolutely love how this vehicle looks this year. I actually parked it right next to one of the older Tucsons, and when you put the two of them together, this one is absolutely gorgeous. It's got amazing fuel economy, actually some of the best in this class, and the engine. I was a little surprised that they weren't going to be offering a V6, but this little engine pleasantly surprised me. On the downside,
Nothing?
I got nothing, actually, Zach, nothing. I'm really impressed with this Hyundai.
Because you're 5'7" and the seat isn't an issue.
It works.
Can't get enough of the new Hyundai Tucson? Then go to drivingtelevision.com for our web-only segments or to see the entire review again.